you just mentioned IBM, which I'd like to hear. I mean, you've been in the business for well over 40 years, like about 40 years. I heard another podcast. You said the VSA is like 40 years now. Like they just hit their,
Yeah, 40.
and I'm assuming IBM has been a client for a good portion of that. Like how did you come to that conclusion that IBM is also one of those companies? Which, I mean, I don't disagree with you, but I guess looking from like the history of IBM being kind of like seen as like Big Brother, what's changed
Yeah.
for them to get there?
Yeah. I don't, what's interesting. IBM is such a storied business, and but I think I mean, honestly, I think that a lot of who IBM is today is still what Watson um, set out to create in the organization at the very beginning. And he was an advocate for technology. He was an advocate of society, for society. He was also an advocate for his employees. And those three qualities today, I would say, are very much celebrated and provide guidance to the organization towards one goal. And if I had to simplify what I think IBM's enduring idea is progress. And so it's, how can we seek progress as being a progressive and fair employer? How can we seek progress in terms of technology in the way it can shape, change, transform business? And what do we seek for society? And so for me, those three pillars have always been have forever been there. But there are times and generations and periods and eras where maybe those three things don't come across as strongly. And I think that I mean, it was probably the Apple commercial. There goes another dollar in the jar. It's probably that Apple commercial, right? That aired during the Super Bowl.
Some counter branding.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Counterintelligence. I think what you say, like Milton Friedman was in the 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like the time where I think IBM, the brand, did get stale because it might have been because Milton Friedman, where it's like, nope, we're just going to help shareholders. And then.
Yeah. I mean, Watson turning the reins over to his son for a while, and his son really had a really great reign during the 60s. Yeah. I mean, it was like bananas in the 60s. The most impressive design of products and experiences, and they really brought IBM to the people in a pretty provocative way. But I do think the 70s are probably about that time when a lot of corporations kind of pivoted and put emphasis maybe on creating profits and such. But I mean, today, if you're to go do a little bit of research, I think you come to really appreciate all the value that IBM brings. It's really quite fascinating. Of course, they've got some amazing technology today as well.
I mean, one of my biggest impressions going to the Computer History Museum in San Francisco is one of the first exhibits is IBM's, one of the original punch card machines. It was like one of the first things that they show in that museum. And so you have to give IBM credit for innovating on very small problems, like just being able to punch in at work.
Yeah.
And measure your
time. Yeah. I know. That's great.
Yeah.